Somebody just wave at me. I'm going to wave right back. And we're seeing a whole bunch of you again. Hi, hello, welcome to USkTalks, to another amazing episode. We have got some treats in store for you. Let's see. Kubi, hi, all the way from Japan. Janine, hello. Marielle Durand. Sai Kumar, Christian Bueller, hello. And we've got some of our guests are starting to get on, which is awesome. Hi, hello everyone. Hello from Hong Kong. It is midnight and it is time to start another show, start another week with you guys with an awesome session of USkTalks. So good to see all of you. Yeah, hello. Hi. Awesome. Now, how many of you have in the past gone to a library or a museum and seen an awesome old sketchbook and looked through the pages and thought like, wow, what was it like to travel in those days, to see the world with fresh eyes? Sometimes you see things other people have never seen before. And urban sketchers back then, before urban sketching was a thing, would have recorded all these wonderful experiences and sights and sounds and annotated things, and all that work would have influenced generations like right down to us today. I mean, our history of urban sketching goes back as the movement 10 years, and there is so much we can learn from that. But today we go back in time. We have two amazing guests who are going to talk to us about how we can actually learn a little bit from the past, and how all these amazing works by some amazing painters and artists in the past can inspire us and influence our work going forward. So, I don't know, has anybody read, hello from Sweden, hey, hi. Have any of you read the book by the acclaimed Italian author Italo Calvino, who wrote Why Read the Classics? And obviously, learning from the past helps us shape the future. So, well, that's a perfect segue for us to get started with the show today. I'm sure a lot of you have already checked out and you know who's on. We've got Hugo Costa and Mário Linhares originally from Portugal. I know both of them. They're amazing guys. It's going to be such a fun show. Mario is going to take us down the path to understand the works of Eugene Delacroix, and Hugo is going to take us on a personal journey with Louis Kahn, who is a fantastic architect. I decided that I'm not going to do much research. I did not study art history, so it's going to be a fascinating show for me as well. Oh, hi from Busan, Korea. Hello from Scotland. Okay. Let's get the show on the road. We're going to invite our first guest up. He's the perfect guy to talk to us about something like this. Hello from Brazil. Hey, hi Mario. How are you?
Hello. How are you, Rob? Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Oh, I have something to show you. Let's see if you recognize this.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah?
That's so cool. You still got it.
Of course. Matthias love it.
Oh, that's so sweet to
hear.
Okay, yeah. Little segue, people. It's a box of Hong Kong cookies. It comes in an old Hong Kong double-decker bus with wheels, old school. Fun stuff like that. Okay, Mario, lots of people know you. Lots of people are saying hi to you, but for those very few, please tell us a little bit about yourself before we get the show on the road.
Okay, so I'm Mario. I live in Lisbon, Portugal, and I'm a professor, drawing professor. I always loved to sketch, to draw. And when I found Urban Sketchers back in 2009, I was amazed by what Gabi was doing in Seattle and with a global correspondence. And I decided to join the group, to join the party.
And what a party it is. I mean, got all these people as well joining us for a party today. All right, let's see some hearts for Mario, people. Come on, let's see some hearts in there. Welcome him to the show. Actually, Mario is the brains behind the show. It was his idea to do USkTalks, and it rolled on from there. So one day we'll do a show about the team behind USkTalks, but I thought you should all know where the idea for the show began. Okay.
Okay.
Mario, tell us about Eugene Delacroix.
Okay,
Why did you pick him?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because in fact I could pick a lot of different artists who use sketchbooks way before we did, right? But Delacroix did an amazing trip to Morocco, and it was really special because he changed the way he painted after that trip. So he was a famous painter at the time. He was 30 years old. And France, in fact, needed to go to send a diplomatic group to Morocco because they wanted to be close friends to Morocco because of the situation in Algeria, because France invaded Algeria. So they needed to be friends from Morocco, the neighbors, right? So they sent a diplomatic group there. And in fact, the artist that was supposed to go declined the invitation because it was too dangerous. Yeah, it was too dangerous. And then it was really funny because it was the wife of the diplomat who said, oh, I know an artist, and maybe we can invite this artist, Eugene Delacroix. And she contacted him and he accepted the invitation, yeah.
Yes, and who wouldn't?
Of course.
I think any one of us would jump at it. But okay, tell us about this amazing trip to Morocco and why in particular you concentrated on the subject of his sketchbooks for that trip.
Yeah, well, it was a last minute invitation, so we didn't have the time to organize all the stuff in the art materials. So we picked different sketchbooks with different sizes, one landscape, other in portrait size, a small one. So, and in fact, we don't know exactly how many sketchbooks he filled, because we know that when his studio was sold, after his death, he had 7 sketchbooks. But nowadays, we only know 4. 3 at the Museum au Louvre, and a different one in other museum. And we don't know about the others. And some critics say that he had 12 sketchbooks. So there is some mystery around this trip and his sketchbooks. And so that's one part. And the other is when you Google about Delacroix paintings, you saw a lot of oil paintings. So his sketches are not so famous. And in this trip, he used only sketchbooks, and he did a lot of watercolors and sketches, quick sketches. So it was really, really important to understand how he sketched in a really difficult situation, like riding a horse or drawing a big amount of people, a big party of people moving and dancing. It was difficult, right? And that's why the sketches are really beautiful.
And there's so much for us as urban sketchers to learn from something like that, right? On location.
Exactly. It was impossible to set up the stool and the whistle and whatever, right? So he just opened the sketchbook and decided to take notes, written notes, like, okay, this should be red and this needs to be yellow. And in that day at night, or maybe in the next day, he will paint with watercolor the sketches he made. So everything was really rushed. And in fact, I think one of the really interesting things is we urban sketchers, we tend to do sketches really beautiful in the sketchbooks, like finish painting ready to put on the wall, right? But when you go and understand what he did in his sketchbooks, there are really raw sketches, like draft. And so you see the spirit of the moment to be there. It's like, if I was there, probably I will do kind of the same thing, because there was no more time to do nothing else.
Yeah. It's just like no time. I mean, it's a travel. It's like going back into the past, and this is a diplomatic mission. So what you had to record was very different from like what we would do on our travels. But same thing: time constraint, draw on location, observation, working quickly.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And there is some funny stories around
Mhm.
the trip. So let me share some of the funny stuff.
Yes,
So
yes.
when they when they arrived in Tangier,
Mhm.
which was the first city in Morocco, that was not the capital. The capital at the time was more in the south, and they needed to meet the king of the country. So, but when they arrived there, the the Ramadan started. So they needed to wait 1 month there until the end of the Ramadan before they start the contacts to connect with the king. But during that month, the diplomatic person, the French guy, it was a really nightmare for him because he thought, oh, I'm staying here for 1 month with nothing to do. But for Delacroix, it was an amazing, opportunity, right? So I have an extra month
Yeah,
to
extra.
sketch, right?
How long
So
was he? Sorry,
yeah,
just
yeah.
quickly, how long was Delacroix in Morocco? The entire
So
duration.
yeah, the entire trip was 6 months.
Okay.
So it was huge, yeah. And in fact, he was not staying in the same house of the diplomatic group, so he needed to stay in a different houses, and that gave him the opportunity to contact the Jewish community,
Hmm.
and that's why you will find the Jewish wedding
Hmm.
painting because he drew a lot of Jewish inside
Hmm.
their houses. So it
Hmm.
was really inside the community. So it was really important for him that month that they stayed in Tangier. After that, they get the authorization to travel to the south and meet the king, and they spend 15 days on their horses, sketching and
Wow.
camping. And Delacroix fall hill 3 times during the trip, and in
Oh,
total, he did more than 1,000 drawings.
wow.
So it's unbelievable, right? Um, yeah, and at the end, when they arrived and meet the king, it was really important because it was a good meeting. So the diplomatic trip was successful, and the French gave him gold, and the king gave in return animals like lions and horses and so on. Yeah,
A pet
yeah.
lion.
And then
Okay.
Delacroix had the opportunity to sketch the horses really close because it was their animals at that moment, right? So it was
Yes.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I just did a quick Google, and he's got such amazing drawings of horses in different poses. Like there's so much energy and passion in his line work and his
Yeah.
brushstrokes, really quick and capturing movement and all that. But okay,
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Shall we start to show some of the things that you wanted to show the audience?
Yeah. Please. Please.
Please. Okay. All right. Let's begin with this, setting the scene.
Okay. That one was really at the beginning. So the other side, when we see the Mediterranean Sea, and the other
Hmm.
side is Spain. And
Hmm.
Delacroix really, he always wanted to go there. And Italy, mainly Italy. And he never went to Italy. He always wanted to go there, but he went to Morocco. But there was a cholera pandemic in the Mediterranean area, so they didn't get the authorization to port in Spain. So they went directly to Morocco. So this is one of the first landscape drawings he did in Morocco. And
Okay.
please show more because
Yeah. Okay. Let's dive
okay,
in.
so this is a really beautiful drawing from the Jewish family. So he
Mhm.
spent 1 month with them, also because he needed to pay his own expenses. So he was invited to go, so he didn't have to pay the trip, but once there, he needed to find a place to stay. And he found the Jewish community who received it really well, and he started drawing a lot of them and the women and all of them. So and with those sketches, after he did some paintings. So it was really nice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, show us more.
Okay. Yes. Wow.
Yeah,
Stunning.
during that month, so the landscape and the plants that he find were completely different from what he was used to see in Paris, because he's from Paris, was from Paris. And so sometimes he walk out of the boundaries of the city, the murals, and he just was amazed with the landscape. In fact, when some of the letters he sent to his friends, he refers like, I'm living a dream. I'm seeing so it's so different from what I'm used. I think I'm changing the way I'm seeing the world and the painting. So it was really important. Yeah, show us more.
Okay.
Yeah, well, this is a really beautiful double page of the sketchbook. When we see the complete page, you see that during the travel to the Meknes, the other capital, not the current one, he did those small drawings, and at the end, you see the arch over there with the people. A lot of people were there to receive the French diplomatic group, and if you imagine, I'm riding a horse and I'm sketching this and I'm putting some notes and I'm trying to think, how can I add the color before I forgot about what is it. So he wrote a lot, and that's I think the most beautiful part of the way he combined drawing and writing notes. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's incredibly inspiring just looking at that. And I mean, it's that skill also of making it really simple, but those strokes say so much. And you have a page like that. I mean,
yeah, in this page is also nice because some of the sketchbooks disappear, probably because the pages were cut off to sell. And so the ones that remained intact were probably because he didn't want to sell, probably because he loved those, and he needed them to paint after that, something, I don't know.
Yeah, because all his notes are in there, and from some of these, he actually made full-on paintings. Is that right?
Yes, a lot of them. Yeah.
Lots of people are asking is whether your challenge is to get them to sit on a horse and sketch.
It could be. Don't give us ideas.
I want to see that. Okay. All right.
Okay. So this is, I think, a really difficult drawing to make. So after he entered the big door of the city, there was a lot of people, amount of people waiting for them. And we see the kind of sense of energy and colors and people, the amount of people that were there waiting for them just at the arrival. When I see these drawings, I also think about the way Suhita sketches, because it's so quick. So when I look through the history of art, I'm always linking to the sketches I know and the people who maybe without knowing we are doing the kind of the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Oh,
okay,
wow.
so this is also beautiful because a lot of musicians were there playing to receive them, and though that guy in the middle, not that one, the other one, the other middle, yeah, that one,
this one. Okay.
That one, yeah. That one really kept his attention because of the closes and the lines, the patterns, right? So in the next sketch, please show us the next one. He did a better study of the closes and everything. So with these, we understand how he spent the time and what captured his eye, what he wanted to capture with watercolor, with drawing, what he was struggling to do. And I think he probably thought oh, I need to sketch these more in detail, not just by passing by like in a musician guy, right? I need to go there and understand better what kind of clothes are these.
Well, a lot of our audience are asking now, what kind of tools do you think he used to do all his work?
Yeah, we know the tools. We don't know exactly the brands, or because he sent a letter to the store to say and saying, I need you to supply me. But we know that it was watercolor and a regular brush, a lot pencils, of course, and ink and nib and ink. So it was mainly this. But he also had some. The oils were also with them, but he didn't use it. Only in France, he used the oil paintings in canvas. So in Morocco, it was really short stuff, like pencil, brush, watercolor, nib, and ink.
The basics.
The basics,
The basics. And I mean, you could see his skill in just like a quick thing like that. Even the reflected light that he's got in there and the highlights, I mean, it's really quite incredible. Okay, moving on. Right, tell us more.
This is the travel back to the north. So again, it was really captured by the movements of the horse and the Moroccans riding the horses. So always he was always trying to sketch, always. And in fact, there was a kind of conflict between the ideas of the diplomatic guy who invited him and him, Delacroix, because the diplomatic guy, sometimes he thought, oh, these guys from Morocco, they are kind of rude. They are not, the civilization didn't arrive here. But for Delacroix, it was an amazing thing. He never saw that. So it was, even the movement of the horse was something that he was in love completely. So he always was trying to capture that.
Oh, amazing.
Okay, show us more. And I think
very inspiring.
I don't know how, if we have time. So this is a great example. I selected this one and the next one, so we can understand how he wanted to understand the architecture of the houses in Morocco, and the what captured him, and also what the work, how he used those sketches in Paris when he was back to France. So if you show us the next image, please.
Ta-da!
We see, a complete oil painting. So this is the sketch of the architecture, and in the oil painting, he adds a lot of people that he sketched in a different place. So musicians, people dancing, people talking. So the life of he saw, the life he saw, it's on that canvas, but at the same time, it's in a lot of different pages of the sketchbook, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
That's actually such a great example of how something simple like this in some notes, and then you could actually expand on that because you have that information. Fabulous. Okay. Oh, all right.
Okay.
Are we here already?
Yeah. Are we here already? Yeah. And it's good because a lot of people were asking, where is the book? Where is the book about his travel? And in fact, there isn't a specific book or a facsimile book with all these sketches. And there are a lot of books about Delacroix's work and paintings and the trip to Morocco, and also did a trip to London, to England first. But I think this one is the best one for those who are, I hope, in love with this trip. That book, I think, is the best one to understand the full picture, the big picture of his travel.
Okay, that's fascinating. I mean, in a nutshell, what would you say that, if an urban sketcher who doesn't know art history, like me, for instance, and he wants to, because of you and this talk today, wants to understand more, how would you recommend that we start the learning process when we study works like this?
Yeah, well, in his time, in the time of Delacroix, in the French Academy, the regular way to learn how to draw, in one moment they had to copy drawings from the masters. So that was a regular step. If we copy one drawing, we are understanding the technique. That's the main difference between sketching from pictures, photographs, or sketching from drawings, because in pictures you don't have a drawing technique. But if you copy a drawing from Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci, you are seeing the line of the sketch, right? So you can learn from that. So that's a very good point. So in my opinion, it's a very good thing to do, to copy a sketch from a master. So when you go back and you find, okay, this is an artist that I found, and this sketch, I think it's watercolor, and I have watercolors at home. Let me try to understand how he did it. But then there is a lot of people that we can learn from, and I don't know. I can just say some names. Of course, William Turner was really important, and if he filled up a lot of sketchbooks. But one of my favorite sketchbooks is a really small one from Picasso. Picasso, in his first trip to Paris, he had almost no money, and he went there, and in the sketchbook you can see some counting, because he was counting the money, not because he didn't have to spend. And there is a really nice facsimile of his sketchbook. So when you go to the sketchbooks, especially from the masters, and they use the sketchbooks mainly to think and to study things, not to create masterpieces. You enter in their lives, and you read personal notes, and you understand what they were thinking. That's why you find sketches of cubism in sketchbooks before in canvas. So when you go to the Picasso sketchbooks, you will find the first drawings of cubism are in sketchbooks, not in canvas.
Wow. That's so much you've managed to pack into 20 minutes. I mean, I think for those of you who joined, welcome to USk Talks. We're talking to Mario from Lisbon, and who's been telling us about Eugene Delacroix, and then he jumped quickly to Picasso and to William Turner as well. And there's so much. But so watch the show back. We'll be on IGTVs. We're going to be on Instagram stories and on YouTube as well. So before we let you go, Mario, tell us about this. What is it that you would like us to learn from this particular piece then?
Okay, so I think this is related with the challenge. And this is a beautiful piece from Delacroix. So he did the sketch, and because he didn't have the time to put the color when he did the sketch, he wrote a lot of notes. Some of the notes are to identify the objects of the horses, and others notes are about the colors. And it's really interesting to write colors, because if you write a color like red, for you, red is one kind of red. And for me, it could be a completely different red, right? So my challenge is to do a sketch on location, like could be a view from your home, the window, whatever. It should be a typical urban sketching. Okay. And then you should write the colors. You should write the colors, but colors related with some memory, like this yellow reminds me the lemons of my grandmother, something like that. So then you will connect memory with the color. And then after a week, you can put the colors, but base it only on the written notes. So it's a kind of, you do your sketch at your home, you write the names of the colors with some personal memories, and after 1 week, you go back to the sketch, and you travel in time from wherever the colors will go back with you.
That's a fantastic idea. And I suppose we don't need to draw horses, right? I mean, for those who can
No,
find
no, no.
horses, go ahead, go ahead. There's so
If they
many people
live,
talking about horses today. Yeah, so find a horse if you want. But I think this is excellent also because it's a trick and it's a skill. I think that's so useful for urban sketchers because sometimes we just don't have time. So being able to develop the skill to just make these notes, to remember the color, it seems so basic, but that's such a powerful thing. Fantastic. Yeah,
yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, we have a couple minutes. Can you explain this in Portuguese, please, for our very, very
Of
many Portuguese viewing
I'm
us?
really happy that you are allowing me to do that. So, para todos os portugueses que estão a assistir à conversa, é um grande prazer estar agora a falar em português. O exercício, o desafio que eu tenho para apresentar é fazer um desenho de observação da nossa casa, pode ser da janela, o que quiserem, e depois, em vez de colorirem o desenho, escreverem a lápis várias notas sobre as cores e, quando escreverem as cores, relacionem as cores com uma memória. Por exemplo, se tiverem a ver um amarelo, então escrevem amarelo que me lembra os limões da minha avó. Ou então se estiverem a escrever um vermelho, o vermelho que me lembra os tijolos do Campo Pequeno em Lisboa. Então a ideia é sempre escrever um bocadinho de memória relacionada com a cor.
I just wanted to say also that I miss hearing you speak Portuguese. I miss being in Portugal.
Oh,
Uh,
you need
yeah.
to come back. You are always welcome. Oh, let me
Obrigado.
just say one more thing before I
Sure.
leave.
Sure, Mario.
So
Please.
there is a really interesting thing. When the Delacroix trip ended and they go back to Paris, they took the boat, right? And they got to the south of France, to Toulon. And before they port the boat, they had to stay 15 days in quarantine, just like we are at this moment. So there is a strong connection between what we are living now and what he lived. And during those 15 days, the diplomatic guy chief was really upset. And for Delacroix, it was an amazing opportunity. So he spent, in those 15 days, he did 18 big watercolors inside the boat.
Wow.
Yeah, he was always traveling, always working. Yeah.
Wow. True inspiration for urban sketchers. And I suppose, Mario, if I were going to ask you, like, where would you want to go after this quarantine is over? Where is Morocco going to be one of those stops that you'd like to make?
I want to go where these buzzes are.
Done. Okay.
Okay.
Obrigado, Mario. Thank you so much. It's been so wonderful having you. I can see all the comments. You can see them later. Everyone loved it. So we will see you again. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Wasn't that incredible? That was such an incredible talk. I don't know about you, but I am super inspired. And in case you didn't know, this is the tag for Mario. So if you want to do his challenge, please remember to tag him. And coming right up is Hugo Costa, also originally from Porto. Remember the symposium in Porto? Yes. He lives now in Valencia in Spain, in Espanol. And we're going to get Hugo on in just a second now because he also has some fascinating stories to share with us. And we will go for another trip.
Hey!
Hi!
Hey,
Hugo,
Rob!
How are you?
You're the best. You're the best, Rob. How are you?
Okay. Very
You're
good.
amazing.
I'm so good. I'm so happy to see you. And my goodness,
Okay.
like you're making us salivate with all that amazing stuff in the background already.
Yeah, I put here a digital sketch in memory of you. Yeah, yeah. This was digital one.
Really?
Okay.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
incredible. That's so beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
I am jumping ahead. So before
Hi,
we
hi,
dive
Steph.
into before we dive into all the wonderful things you'd like to share with us, please, you have fans here, but introduce yourself so that those of you who don't know
Oh,
understand. Who is Hugo Costa?
yeah. Now, first off, before presenting myself, I like to thank all the USk board. And now that I did this, I know that it's a lot of work. It's not just 1 hour interview. You guys prepared it really well. So thank you to Mario. No. Thank you to Rita. Thank you to all the board. Thank you, Robbie, because you are the soul of this also with your amazing presence. Okay, so after this, I will present myself. I'm sorry. I'm just one more boring architect that draws on the street. I started drawing a long time ago, but mainly when I was in the architectural school. But then I went to teach in Valencia, where I started drawing, where I started teaching drawing. And one day I asked my students to do one drawing a day. Okay.
Wow.
And they told me it was impossible. So, like to give the example, I told them I would sketch every day from that day, and that sentence changed my life completely. And like them, I went on sketching every day. Okay, I did a pause when I was finishing my PhD. So people always ask me, what is the trick? The trick is I'm no better than any one of you. I just work hard and then work a lot. Yeah, so I teach there. I teach in Valencia. I was visiting scholar in New York City. I lived in. I'm from Porto. Hello, Porto. Olá, Porto. And it's nice because I have the northern accent. Okay, Olá, Porto, Olá, Portugal. And Mario has the southern one. Okay, so I was born in Porto, that amazing city. But then I went to Paris. I lived in Paris. I live in Rome. I live in Salerno. So I'm based in Valencia, Spain. This really beautiful sunny city. So traveling so much, all these travelings were I don't know. Drawing gave me all these opportunities. Now, from teaching from New York to Nagoya, so I found that drawing is really empathic. Now, is really these universal languages that can really open a lot of doors to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
If you work hard.
Absolutely hear you. Yeah. Yes, it's going with that passion, and it's incredible. I mean, look at the number of people who are on the show here. We're all here from all over the world because of urban sketchers.
Hola, hola.
Okay.
Hola, bye.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so you're going to talk to us about Louis Kahn. So I wanted to ask you first, why Louis Kahn? I mean, there's so many amazing architects. Your work is also amazing, but why did you pick him?
Yeah, when I saw his first pastel, his sienna pastel, the red one you have, it just blew my mind away. No, these amazing red colors, you know. So I was there way before knowing his sketch, but when I see this sketch, it just blew my mind. How the guy just changes all the scene. No. How the guy goes to this amazing space that we all know, like this Siena Square, and he just takes off all the doors, all the windows, and he just does like this big red wall with the cathedral behind, with this green under this blue sky. How he simplifies these things. No, it just blew out my mind how he did this drawing. Of course, when I was there, I do also a drawing, but it was a really bad drawing, by the way, the first one I did there. And then when I saw this drawing, I thought this was what I really wanted to transmit, and I could not do it. Okay, and then I started researching also his architectural. I must say that in the beginning I didn't quite like this architecture. I was not passionate about this architecture, but then I started liking it more and more, and I realized that is this kind of architecture that it's like when you listen to a tune and you like it a lot in the
grows
first
on you.
moment, and then but I think his architecture, you must walk on his architecture. You must understand it and visit his architecture. You know, that's the kind of architecture that I like. When you. Mm-hmm.
And speaking of walking, what the reason that you're bringing, one of the reasons that I understand that you're highlighting Louis Kahn is because you actually retraced some of the drawings, and Hugo went back to draw exactly from those locations, which is, I mean, sounds like an incredible journey. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because that sounds incredibly fascinating. How did the project start?
Yeah, I think it all started also back in Siena. So I felt some mystic thing there when I was there in Siena, and then I started researching Louis Kahn drawings. No, and then I found a book that of his former students of Kahn. That compiled all the. So this guy was all his life compiling all Kahn's drawings. You know, and then I started digging at this at this book, and I found it that some of the locations were not okay, or some of the sites were not. This guy could not find some of the sites. And then I started trying to see what were the drawings that were not identified. And I must go there and try to identify this drawing to see where they were done. Okay, and then that year I was invited to Salerno, to Salerno University. That is really close to Amalfi, where Kahn did the majority of his drawing. So this is Venice. Yeah, this is Kahn drawing at Venice, and that's my drawing in Venice.
Okay, so just tell the audience which one's yours. This is yours, right? This is
yeah. So I went there to, and then I was invited to go there to that university that was close to the spots where Kahn drew, where Kahn had like 20 or something drawings. Then this year I went back to New York, and strange things started to happen. No? So I went to New York. I went to visit this park that Kahn designed, where I met Richard Olamar, by the way. And I love the building that Kahn designed in New York. And then I found that Louis Kahn was dead. He got this mysterious death in New York. He was found dead, and he was lost for 3 days in New York City. And that he was dead in the same year where I was born. No, so I started feeling like this instinctive thing. So this guy wants
connection.
to follow him. And then I started working in a movie. I did the storyboard for an amazing director called Jeremiah Zagar. For a feature movie, and the guy invited me to his birthplace in Philadelphia, where Kahn had his office. So I got the chance to visit again some buildings that become me his drawings. This guy was a friend of Nathaniel Kahn, that was the son of Louis Kahn. Yeah. So if you want to know the Louis Kahn life, I recommend you to see this documentary that is called My Architect, directed by the son of Louis Kahn. That is really amazing. And then things started getting connected, okay? And then the circle closed when I went after the trip I did following Kahn. The circle closed when I went back to the park designed by Kahn, where I was invited to show my drawings. So, the circle closed. It was amazing showing the drawings that I did on Kahn work on this building.
I bet. That sounds amazing. But tell us about this trip that you made to actually follow his footsteps in Italy and to draw all these things, because that sounds something else as well. So this is Kahn's work, correct?
This is Milan. Yeah, this is Milan.
This is Milan.
Yeah, this is on the north. Yeah. So Kahn did a almost 1 year trip, where he wanted to soak up all the architecture, the European architecture, But he started in England, and he went way back, went north to Estonia, where he was born. He was from Estonia. And then he did like 6 months all over Europe, where he barely draw. He did 6 drawings. We know 6 drawings in this in all the Northern Europe. And then when he arrives to Italy, he starts drawing like crazy, you know. And okay, so and then what were let's talk about my trip. Or you want to? Okay, so what I did, I asked for a grant to be at Salerno School. Okay, so it was also like a dream, no, being 4 months in Salerno drawing. When I finished those 4 months drawing in Salerno, like this hard work, I think you have more. You can show more pictures, like from the south. Like I have these drawings here in Salerno. Okay. Oh, this is the Amalfi Coast. Okay.
Wow.
So when I was there, so I was there in Salerno, in Amalfi Coast. I had 4 months to be there and sketching the Louis Kahn drawings, you know. So every day I would grab my backpack and pick the bus, and I would go there and try to find all the drawings. Some of the drawings were identified and some not. This was like this is one of my favorite. This is my favorite place in Amalfi Coast. That is Conca. That is Conca dei Marini, and this is the drawing Kahn did in 1929. So can you imagine my excitement when I arrived there 90 years before, after going down by the amazing path and going through a house and finally finding this amazing beach, and finding that those 2 fishermen houses that Kahn drew 90 years ago were exactly there, the same 2 little houses. Of course, they were converted in an Airbnb and a restaurant. And the restaurant. So this looks quite amazing, you know. It's like being 4 months in summer on Amalfi Coast drawing, but for me it was like a work. Okay, so I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it is really hard to travel there. It takes a lot of time because the streets are really old. Public transportation doesn't work at all. So I woke up every day to draw, and I was sketching while people were swimming in front of me, and I was sweating and sweating. Yeah. Okay. I allowed myself sometimes to have like 1 hour a day swimming on the sea, but barely. I didn't eat. You know, I arrived to the university after these 4 months really thin, even more thin than I. Yeah.
What a great idea for urban sketchers to lose some weight. Yes. Go to the Amalfi Coast, follow Louis Kahn, follow Hugo, and
yeah. Anyway, it was kind of a bittersweet sensation, you know, because following Louis Kahn, because it was so exciting to be on the same spots where he was, but at the same time, I started realizing that it was a touristy spots, you know. So I am following this guy that's supposed to be an amazing architect, and is leading me to the major touristy spots. For instance, I found this drawing after doing my drawing. You know, I arrived to Bologna, and I already did this sketch before Kahn did his sketch. You know, so he kind of sketched on the most touristy spots. But then, of course, you have to think that it was like in the 20s, you know, they were not so touristy as they are now. Like in Venice, it was really hard to sketch the same sketches he did because it was so crowded. It was impossible to sit there and sketch. Yeah.
This one was Venice,
okay.
Right? No, this
one is Milan. This one in Milan. So I was 4 months
this one.
Yeah, I was 4 months. This is Venice. Yeah, St. Mark's Square. He did a lot of drawings around St. Mark's Square. So I was 4 months there in July, and then when I had finished all the south sketches, I went also to Capri. I thought, okay, let's do the other sketches he did in Italy. So I took advantage of some lectures I had in the north and in the center, and finally on these small trips I did to go to some conferences, I took advantage of it. So let's talk about this drawing, Rob, because this is really interesting. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the lovely Tuscan city of San Gimignano. Okay. And this was really easy to find because it's the Praça da Erba. It's the most famous square in San Gimignano. So when I sit there to draw, I realized that Kahn had only two towers, like one big tower, and then I was looking and I found that there was two big towers in front of me. So that big tower that was supposed to be an old tower was done recently, in this time gap between Kahn trip and my trip,
So they added a tower.
Yeah, they added a tower.
The landscape. Fantastic. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about materials, because what you've been showing us is that he does quite a bit in line drawing. Looks like pencils. Then there's a little bit of painting, watercolor, and this looks very much like, is it pastel?
No, it's pencil. It's a carpenter pencil. Those broad pencils. Those broad pencils. Yeah. So when I was telling you, when Kahn arrived to Italy, he started sketching much more than the other places. It is incredible because we are in the 20s now, exactly where the modern architecture was the apogee of the modern architecture. But he didn't care about modern architecture. He just jumped. He didn't sketch in Prague. He didn't sketch in Berlin. He didn't sketch Corbusier. He didn't sketch Mies. But he only wanted to sketch these ruins in Italy. So passing from Rome to Bologna, he bought this carpenter pencil. With this broad ones, the broad leads, and he started doing these vigorous sketches. Okay, with his he called it his magical pencil. No wonder he called it a magical pencil, because as urban sketches, we know that it's hard to do fast sketches. So this was, and what is interesting is in the beginning, when he landed almost 6 months before in England, he did a really tight sketch, really different from this one. So this magic pencil, he called it this magic pencil, liberated him and from these tight drawings, and start to make these cool drawings that analyze the basic forms of architecture as forms and shadows.
Okay. So he actually evolved as an architect also as he was sketching. I assume all this sketching on location also influenced his work.
Of course, for sure. He even sent a letter to his office from Rome saying, I saw the future of our projects. From now on, all the things will be different, because he used to do modern things like Le Corbusier or Mies things, because this was the functional times. Okay, after the Great Depression, he was trained as a Beaux-Arts architect, but of course after the Great Depression we could not do Beaux-Arts buildings. It was the time of doing simple and light and clean things. So and he sent this letter, and when he was in 59, he gave a speech in Waterloo in the architects conference, modern, where he gave this speech where he told that there in Italy he found, in a little village, he found the essence of his architecture. We don't know what this little village is.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to believe that it's Conca dei Marini, the one I love. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
and then he also used watercolor.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Hugo, I have to move things along a little bit
Yeah.
because you're giving us such fascinating information. I think a lot of people are going to be looking up Louis Kahn, but I'd really like to know, after you followed his work and you went all over the place like this, how did his work change you as an architect?
Okay. He was an architect, but he was also an artist. He considered himself an artist. Okay, so it taught me to see things in a more simple way. You know, like how when I saw these drawings, I kind of saw the light. You know, I thought I'm seeing the light. You know, because by this so economic means. You know, he was able to express what I wanted to express in a such easier way. You know, only by these simple strokes and only by drawing these simple forms and this light. You know, with using his pencil. You know, only on this. So economic means not just like tilting the angle of his light. He could transmit so many things that. For me, it was so hard, and so I used to waste so much time on doing that, you know. And I started seeing forms in another way, you know, and that is leading to the challenge, okay?
Okay.
To see things in another way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please tell us. Everybody wants to know.
Okay. I have here the challenge in big one also. Okay. So this is the challenge. This is the challenge. So. What Louis Kahn did and what I want you to do is to try to represent forms not using the outline, okay, but defining forms using their shadows, okay? Don't think, so make your brain work in another different way, okay? Squint your eyes like this, see the general light and the general forms, and just draw the shadows, okay? And these shadows and this contrast between the shadows and the light will define your form, okay? That is totally different from outlining and then painting it, okay?
Okay.
And
Brilliant.
this is really good. This is really good to learn how to use watercolor, of course, okay?
Okay. That sounds
mainly
fantastic.
it makes your brain works. How are we going on time? Are we on time?
Well, we're almost there. We're almost at the top of the hour. It's been
flies,
an
it
amazing.
flies.
It flies. Do you have
I have
1
so
minute?
much to say.
Yeah, I know. But
I have so much to say.
It's a fantastic challenge, and there's so much amazing information as well. Can you tell us very quickly, what could urban sketchers learn from doing a project like this, where you follow in the footsteps of someone that you really admire?
Yeah, I think it's really important to understand why they did it, you know, and seeing how this travel can change your life, and for instance, how this travel is changing my life also. You know, this travel changed the life of Louis Kahn. And mainly, it's really important to check the masters, not seeing only in Instagram the urban sketchers. You know, I always tell my students, don't learn by my sketches. Don't watch my sketches. Watch the sketches of Hopper, for instance. You know, learn from the masters. It's much more interesting than seeing this. So going there, traveling on time, and seeing the things of from other era, it's really important. I think it's really it can inspire us and soak us with inspiration. Okay.
Well, I think you have absolutely soaked us in inspiration, and there is so much more that we would like to hear from you. But I think it's going to have to be.
I just want to.
You want to show us
the book.
Something very quick before we go. Yeah.
Oh, this is the thing I'm doing. I got now the Porto sketch. You know, like the big one. Okay, insane. And this is the drawings I did in Italy. Okay, so in order to be light, what I did, I used to use like only one or two sheets of these big sheets, you know, because I like to sketch big. I used to carry the medium sketchbook, okay, like this one from Hahn & Müller, okay, and a small sketchbook.
Wow.
Okay, this was everything that I used with my big backpack. Okay.
Okay.
So, muito obrigado.
Yeah.
every
you
one
want
of
to
you.
say something very quickly in Spanish to say
Yeah.
goodbye? In Spanish or Portuguese?
Both. Muchas gracias. Grazie mille to all the Italian. Merci beaucoup. Muito obrigado a todos os portugueses que me estão a ouvir. Se alguém quiser saber mais alguma coisa, pode-me escrever e eu respondo essas perguntas. Ok? Muito obrigado a todos. Thank you, Rob. You are the best.
Obrigado, Hugo.
Cheers
Thank you
up.
so much. It's been so good.
Cheers.
Yes, cheers. Cheers. And
Cheers.
we'll see you another time. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye. Okay. And it's been an hour and it just flew on right by like that. I mean, I hope you guys had fun. I can see from the comments that you all enjoyed it as well. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. If you just joined us, we're at the end of the show, another round of USk Talks. I hope that you will join our challenges as well. This, again, are the names and the Instagram handles of our wonderful guests. And if you're going to join the challenges, then please remember to tag our instructors as well. Tag them, USk Talks challenges. All the information is going to be in IG stories, in IGTV, and this video will also be on YouTube coming up. Next week, we have another fascinating show for you. How are you going to make use of this downtime to improve your art? We've been going through a lot of that already, but we have some veteran, amazing educators in the USk field who will be sharing some awesome tips for us. So I see so many amazing names. Great talk. Well, thank you so much. I guess we'll see you next time, 4 p.m. GMT, same time, same place. Have a fantastic week. Take care, you guys.